Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of Financially Naked on the Money Couch. Thembisa Luthuli Mngadi, awusitshele kancane ukuthi yini lena?
It's something that I'm so passionate about. I'm also very excited about. So Financially Naked on the Money Couch is basically about conversation about money. Sure. We're trying to open the space because there's very little conversation that are happening when it comes to money. So we are having real stories from real people who's going to share their journeys. It's not people that who have made it as we might think, but it's people like us who are still experiencing financial difficulties, if there's any. But it's mostly about to share different financial stories that we can learn from, we can have conversation about, and also take points on how do other people build wealth, how have they faced their financial difficulties and solve them. So it's basically about each guest will be bearing their soul out when it comes to finances on the special couch, which is the Money Couch.
Sure. I'm excited indeed to learn about how people actually create wealth. Well, on to today's guest. You guys will be shook out of your seats. Is that how they say it, ne?
Yes.
Sure. So today's guest is someone I would personally call a pioneer, a go-getter, someone with a vision, someone who picks their struggle and thereafter revels with it. What's a Hey, good chat. She's a DJ. She's shared stages with internationally recognized DJs. She's also a radio DJ. She's also an entrepreneur. And of course, as many South Africans,
yes.
Exactly.
She's also a PK, preacher's kid.
Hey, please help me welcome uNonkululeko Mdlalose. Intombi yakwaMashu, DJ LeSoul. Igama elithi DJ LeSoul liqhamuka kaphi?
Gogo, yes, ahleli naye angithi nguNkule, Nonkululeko.
Okay.
And then uNkule bengibiza ngole abanye and all of that. And we were just sitting one day thinking about like, how can I call myself something that infuses what I like playing. I used to like to play deep house, soulful house. And Nkule, soul. And it just didn't sound right. And then Le, soul, and then it came together. So I had research a actually it means my soul. It means the soul of the shoe in some other languages. So we're like, okay, cool, it's fine.
Look
we'll go with
that.
that.
I would have never said it. I thought ukuthi nje ngivele ngicabanga ukuthi yazi ukuthini leli gama it's palatable.
Yeah.
So ngithela imali, so might as well just
Nah, gogo.
So music has always been your thing.
Always. I'm a preacher's kid. So
PK.
piano.
Oh yeah.
Piano since the age of 14. So it just grew in me. Obviously, uma music, outside within one genre, you get exposed to different types of sounds as well exposed to the internet. I think I fell in love with house as something ingathi mangilalela nga understand ukuthi we use a lot of keys, you use a lot of piano when you make it, and soulful house at that time, involved a lot of instruments, as opposed to now being like almost absolutely digital.
Did you ever think though that you can make a life out of just music at that time?
Really?
Definitely. I think when you pick a struggle, you decide that you're going to revel in it.
There we go. And pick a struggle and revel in it. Take notes, guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I decided this is going to be my hustle, and it must pay me as much as I should have been paid
as a lawyer,
my other professions, you know what I mean? Yeah, because who would have known? Maybe I would have ended up in an office as an HR manager, but I didn't see myself dealing with personnel management on a daily business and in labor relations, you know what I mean?
So sorry to cut you. And so when was it that you actually decided, okay, fine, I've studied all of these, but I want to go into music instead of just go straight into my career as what I've studied?
I think the career played a huge part, and I think people should never discount the amount of time we spent behind the school desk. Lecturer is very important because all the conversations that I've had from the time in Kalagu industry until now have been supported by the educational element, because there are boardrooms or meetings that you can't sit in if you can't speak the language, So I think it happened ngendlela ukuthi kwenzakalile ngaqeda ngagraduate, but I was also very fortunate to use all of that in my career until I got signed. But before you get signed as an artist, not knowing the
Don't
format
even
of a letter.
understand the format of the life, what you need to say on that letter.
Right? Yeah. So ukubona nje uthisha nokuya esikoleni nokuqeda esikoleni was very important. I always finish what I start.
Sure. Always finish what you start. So take us back to the time where you had your first gig, paying gig, that is. Wathola malini?
500 rand.
And how long was it?
How long was this?
This bank, I think it was 2013. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
That's like 8-9 years.
Yeah. I was in grade 11.
Yeah, I started in 2012, but 2013 was the year where I'm going fully in, because I was in my third year. We HR and Alan joke phone. I was like, okay, I can actually manage both of this, you know.
What did that mean to you?
It meant I could actually make money, because look, at that time 500 rand was a lot of money, and the person who offered me the job was like, look, I'm gonna give you 500 rand every time you play. I want you twice a week, so that means I made 1,000
every week.
Okay, minus petrol, 1,000 every week, and it's a platform for me to actually practice more. You know? I took it as that. I'm gaining experience more than anything, but I'm also being compensated for it. And then maybe someone will see me, Lana, and that's exactly what happened. You know? Although it town lincane, then someone else would want to book me. Ati, LeSoul, I want you at Havana from Spank, And then from Havana, omunye ati, I want you now to go play at...
so you end up creating a network.
I ended up just expanding my network once, boss. So it was 500. I'm on 4,000 in young.
Sure.
Isn't huge amount of money?
It is.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm thinking, even if you're sitting at home right now, as a student, you're now thinking, at what point?
Take the first job.
Take the
first job. Don't weigh it too much. It's experience at the end of the day. As long as I can forget your own costs sometimes, because some students really don't have any money, And over and above studying and transport fees, especially I was transport to every other area, And I was lucky to also get people fall in love with my craft and how I play at a very early stage in my career, and then I started playing in different places, Hillcrest, so I was received very, very, very well.
And take us through what your parents are thinking. We PK, you were a pastor's kid. Inganyam is from church, and now Dugu is playing at clubs.
Is she going to make money? Because obviously you were studying something that they were sure you're going to get into the office and a basic salary, but now you want to be a DJ. They're not even sure if you're going to make money, constant money. And how was that?
The thing is, even my elder sister is a preacher,
Okay.
So for them it was like,
there's no money in this thing.
Yeah, baqala babona sengisebenza kwi-community radio station e-Vibe FM. Ngenzani khona? Ngiyangena lapha kuma-slots, I'm producing shows for other people, and although they couldn't understand what was happening, they knew ukuthi I was always a go-getter. So on a community radio station. Next thing, I move on to cause I produce for a certain show. Then I do mixes for Standwanzuza, And then from there, Zokoloko gives me a call. I want your mixes on Kakasi, and it's a daytime show. You know what I mean?
And you're taking all these opportunities because you know what you want to achieve.
Right? I'm taking all of them and Mangfiga Kakasi. Then it's like, okay, cool. It's not for pay, it's not going to pay you, but I'm going to need a mix from you every Tuesday. Excelled in that. I was never late for a mix, I submitted on time. Mangabeng submitter, he says, Mangabeng Gena when it's like Christmas, so I'm moving you to Friday now. The next year, he calls me and says, management.
So you worked for a whole year
without pay?
For free.
And then he calls me one day after a year, he says, management also talked to you, and I'm thinking, sabi ko nchamba we meet.
We meet, yeah.
Ngahamba ngimingcilile lonke. I was texting ukuhlala ucabanga. I was so morose,
Listen to that. What's happening in Itegis?
Yeah, so.
So texting ngistressekile mangifika khona kuthiwa, look, we want to offer you a graveyard slot. This is how much we're going to pay you. We like how you communicate with them when you ask you about my gigs. would you take that? Yo, I'll take it for free if you want to give it for free.
And how much are they offering?
They offered me, my rate was 800 rand
Per hour.
per hour.
Okay.
Which means I made 816.24, 2,400 rand, times it by obviously 3 to 4 weeks, depending on, of course, how when we claim for the month.
Yes, exactly.
15th of the month.
Yeah.
And then I made that much money. Bought my first car with that, and then the claims I claim.
Oh, okay. See,
bought my first car.
And now at this point you can see, sorry, Musa, at this point you can see that actually I'm making money with this thing.
Yeah.
This is the living that I am getting.
Should I focus more on it?
I can make a huge amount.
A huge amount of money. And at the time, actually it's manageable, I might not be able to do heavier things, but I have a car that I've bought cash. I told him what I mean. And then I just kind of weighed everything, and I was like, okay, ngizoqeda esikoleni and ngizoqhubeka futhi ngifunde ngenze yonke into. I want to also do sound engineering, but I will make sure ukuthi this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to focus on for the rest of my life. Then I started researching other musicians who literally make a living with this. They are producers, they have music out online. They make royalties, and that in return comes back to you after a certain period. But obviously, you would have worked for it. So, and my figure na corner, how do you re-inject it into his
Exactly. You bring me to my next question. Me figure from royalties or whatever, how do you re-inject it into whatever craft you're making so that it becomes sustainable? So how do you then make sure it's sustainable in as much as I'm making a living out of this, but how do I build this brand and how is it sustainable?
It's crazy.
What's your trick?
I'm not gonna lie to you, like in the first year or two of making imali through music, I only just bought equipment to enhance the skill. I never really invested it back for a good 2 years, It was buying more equipment, buying studio equipment, microphones, if I need a microphone. And the other thing was, for me to start DJing, no one had to teach me. I literally walked into a music store every now and again and sound and lights down on commercial settings.
Yes, I see it
with them.
Sure.
That's why I bought my sound and I invested back to them, They used to let me play but I'm a DJs on hamp, and that time for me between the classes, because in like the next 2 hours, cross Smith Street, commercial, practice kill time. So when I got a little bit of cash about coming in, even if it was the cheapest equipment, but it was something for me to
work
use
on.
So after the 2 years of, just trying to get equipment and all of that, obviously you still buy other gadgets. When you have your basics, what you need to operate, okay, now it's paying for the studies, Because at Tamilina I used to study for free, obviously, because now I'm
an employee.
But now, furthering my studies in other places, I couldn't really balance it out. Then it's paying for the studies. From paying for the studies, it's now the image. So I spent a good 4 years kind of building and equipping myself. The image, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, okay, I'm a DJ, I'm a good DJ, and I put in the work, but who am I? About how do I want to be looked at in the industry? And even when I focused on the image, I think I still look like everybody, but I just wanted to look decent,
because you understood that your brand is your wealth.
Yes, yeah. So
dropping bars, miss.
Yeah,
literally.
That's literally it. Like it for me, it was because I think I was struggling with three things. It was image.
Yes.
It was like enhancing my skill more. And then it was weight gain. So when I started in the industry, ebesiphuza.
Sure.
Oh, besiphuza, Une-rider uyaqala ukunyutshwa mahhala, uyayibona le nto le. Uyafika la utshala bamahhala like uzophuza nje noma okungakanani obukhona kuthiwa.
Are you still able to DJ njalo unemuso so smash?
DJ khona kakhululeka ngisiphela manje une-energy. So, we used to drink, and even though we didn't get like drunk, but we used to like, you grab a beer every now and again, time up to my side and I'm a 6-pack, So we used to drink a lot, and I didn't see it coming, but then I started gaining a lot of weight. So I had 3 complexes.
Sure.
And matatu, now the party image, it's not just like wearing clothes. It's the body, you know, it's
As
the confidence.
well,
It's what do I
Exactly,
wear?
it goes further than that.
You know,
Yes.
so I had to now start paying for gym. I had to now start working out. Where do I get the time to work out in between all these things? So bengigijima selokishini bengijima naseVipatch ngikhokhela ijim endaweni bengijima noTalente may soul rest in peace. He's late now, but he knocked at my door one day and he was like, angikwazi ungaka. You're doing well now, sesiyakwazi DJ and you're studying and all of it, but angikwazi ungaka. So every 6 a.m. ngiyakulanda la. Siyagijima emgaqweni ntambama uyabuya ngoba esikoleni nasemsebenzini siyajima futhi, you know. Then I lost the weight and then I started gaining confidence back, you know. And I started wearing my angqoka ama-weave sangashubisa nomini. I wear my weaves, you know, sashaya ama-weaves la athungelwayo yabo sashaya lawo. But awuba muhle, you know, at the end of the day. And you know, obviously you evolve over time and you fall in love with yourself and your natural self.
Define yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think I spent a good overall 4 years figuring things out, and there was no money at that time at all. There was no money. It was just like a constant reshuffle of what I need at the time, you know, to better myself, basically. Yeah.
Sorry, I like how you sort of like explaining, integrating the fact that your health, you understood that your health is part of your wealth journey, because your brand is also part of you building your wealth, and it's definitely that something most people will not understand, that I need to invest in myself as a brand for me to create my wealth. I might not be making a lot of money, but I am the one who's important so that I can achieve whatever I want. Would you say right now you are closer to where you want to be financially position wise, or you're still getting there, or you're still working it? Because it's a journey at the end of the day.
The thing is, even people who have the largest or biggest accounts, don't necessarily retire. You know, they have injections somewhere. You know, they have investments in different places. You know, so it's like introspection. It has no end. Growing money has no end.
No end, definitely.
You know, and I think it's because everyone wants to be secure. Now, tomorrow, the next generation must also be secure.
So money gives you that security.
And it's different when you have people who actually rely on you, you know. I don't at the moment, you know, it's just family and you know, radio for me is not about the money. It's I get to speak to millions of people for 3 hours, you know. It's a huge privilege, you know. And with that platform, I think I've been able to build relationships like yourself and other people that I've treasured so much that I think it wasn't easy, you know. I've interviewed someone one day, and one day we ended up having coffee. He introduced me to logistics. I'm in the logistics business now. You know, I was interviewing him, and he was such an open person. And the next thing, he sat me down and he was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to sacrifice something. I had to sell a car to buy a truck." You know, it's those things. You know, there's no point having a car using cocaine, and I had two, and I was like, "Okay, I have to, you know, sacrifice." So now I'm at a point where
sacrifice.
I'm at a point now where I am 50% there with the spaces I wanted to enter. You know, the logistics part of it. The sound business, we bought sound, myself and a few other brothers. In Sebenza Nabo, we bought a sound. Tembisa knows them. We bought sound. That investment was like over $1 million, you know, because it's world stage, you know, because we want to do events, but we don't want to hire sound.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we had to
You're cutting cost of sales.
Yeah, you know, it's just a matter of setting up sound stage, lighting, smoke machines, everything, you know. And then from there,
that's a very lucrative business, eh?
It's a very lucrative business,
especially when COVID is coming to an end.
Eventing is coming back, you know. So we're in that field. We've done that part, you know. And obviously, as much as keep mali for the most part, but I'm thinking of all the passive income that I will have
when
in the next year.
Because
even property doesn't pay you tomorrow. You know, it doesn't pay you off tomorrow. So now with investments and the businesses that I wanted to start, I'm 50% there. My next venture that in Sengiqalayo manje is the agricultural business then.
Okay.
And it started.
Tell me more about that.
it started with getting some land, you know,
Okay.
not in urban places. As long as
Yeah.
the is fertile enough, you know. Yeah, so I'm saying Makaya, some and now Mazamba, there's a shortage of Mazamba, and so harvesting that was priority this year, you know. So preparing land for that right now, and that's what we're heading. That's this direction we're heading with my partner.
All right. Just to pick on that, before you continue, Mazamba and all of that in the agricultural space.
Yeah.
So for a small-time farmer who's listening, and they're struggling with they're the supplier, but they're struggling with the market. Who are they going to sell this once they've produced? What's your strategy?
My strategy is purchase orders. So there are a few companies and corporations that are short of Amazamba. Especially ama-chips as well on a daily basis. Without mentioning names, they've already gone into different sectors and different departments and said, this is what we need, and we need people to harvest this, you know. And it is 3 months, you understand? But to prepare also the soil, it's another month. You know, getting those purchase orders is kind of like, okay, we know how much we have to make for the purchase order, but obviously we want to go into businesses like fruit and veg city, or food lovers, but that's not the ultimate goal, because the ultimate goal is to have enough land to plant so many fruits and vegetables that we create our own market.
Own market.
Yeah,
definitely. You have your own supermarket.
You know, creating employment for local people, you know, for us, and abantu bakuleyo ndawo who can best take care of the place. So it's stuff like that. But now machine, because right now we hire machines, the soil and harvest properly, you know. But once everything is afloat, then we buy. Leo machine is and also hired out to people in local areas because when you find you too, you know. So it's those type of things that we identified. People don't have capital, 100%. But they have the necessary skill.
They even have the land.
Perfect. You know?
I like how LeSoul has actually integrated her business ventures from logistic, having a truck, you're now having land where you can own transport with your own
supply chain.
And most people know you as a DJ. I like how you've invested in your DJing career to actually provide your source of other businesses. And unlike what we have seen in the industry, where most entertainers or performers will live a lavish life, and then at the end of the career there's nothing to show off. I think you guys, people like you, are changing that narrative, that when you decide not to perform, you definitely have something else to do that you can focus in, and then you still have that source of income. So this is really great.
So definitely my take home is exactly what Utembisa is saying. I am not going to be young for too long. So how do I sustain myself and keep myself relevant? Might not be in the very same industry, but then how do I sustain myself going forward? Soccer player, DJ in my old age.
So I'm always going to be in the industry, you know, and I like what you say. I'm always going to be in the industry, but there comes a time, like I said, that you have to be behind the scenes.
Exactly.
And start investing in younger talent. You know?
Yes.
That's something we're already doing, like just spotting guys and then just booking them and not signing them as such, but keeping them under our wing so that, you know, they don't make the same mistakes that we made for a very long time. You know, if we can do that, then I mean, for us, it falls part of the corporate social 100%. Investment. You know,
there we go.
We have that responsibility. You know, and I always say, like, if you have a privilege, your privilege comes at someone else's expense. Always, you know. Either you see it or not, whether you see it or not, but it always comes at somebody else's expense. Someone's either working for you to get what you have, someone's either sacrificing, someone's losing for you to get this much, you know. So if you get that opportunity, spend your privilege, and that's what true advocacy and philanthropy is. It's helping people and extending yourself to people without having anything to gain. So I'm always going to be in the industry, but I know that I've paced myself in such a way that I am a huge lover of craft and just making music and instruments and all of that, so much that I think where I will end up is either being the Einstein, or the one person you call when you have to speak the language of music and frequency,
your
and actually
Oskidos of
understanding
today.
the back end, you know. Yeah, I think I'll be that person, you know, hosting masterclasses for a living, having an institution of my own. But I'm not just talking about just a DJ school, because I feel like we've all just closed ourselves in a box, you know.
Yo guys, I'm dreaming as you're sharing all this. I'm dreaming. I'm like, whoa.
When I conceptualize, I want to see it.
Exactly.
I want to literally see it, you know, happening. A lot of people open DJing schools and they just want to have students in one class. That's not a DJing institution. It's not accredited.
There's no vision.
If it's not accredited, what are you actually offering the people before you, you know? And I think my experience working for Damelin and knowing what you need to qualify, knowing NQF levels and understanding how to bridge that gap, FET colleges and what you need if you have NQF level 4, you know what I mean? So I think that experience has kind of helped me understand the registration process. So how do you even create a brochure? How do you separate monthly payments? How do you do all of that? That experience, I have enough experience to actually start my own institution, but not enough finance, you know, and capital. So, I mean, it would be great if someone just said, hey, I want to invest in this concept of yours. But also, I don't think I would do it now, because I myself am not the brand I want I need to be to start an institution. I think there will come a time when I know I am the Einstein of music, you know. And then there is where I will say, okay, now is the time.
This is the time.
The time will come and I will know when the time comes.
With greater blessing comes greater responsibility. And that's my take on from what you've just said now. So what would you say to DJ LeSoul omncane back in the day? Something that you'd be like, Yazuktina, I wish you knew this back then. Financially as well.
Yeah. I wish I bought more property, you know. I wish at that time I bought more sound equipment, you know. I think I've let go of so many clients. Sound. We are referring about the whole time. But you find yourself looking for people with sound for a gig where you could literally bring your own sound
and make more money.
Owning the supply chain once again.
You know, I don't know how many people I've given business, and that's a great thing, you know. But it could have just been me. You know, I could have just been a woman in sound, in the sound industry. It took time, but I mean, it finally happened. I wish I also bought land, because I realized, there are so many things that are currency, and we didn't know it back then, obviously, because it's lack of information. Also. You know, you book into far-fetched,
and it's not possible.
So it was those type of things, and I think I really wish I would have, you know, invested in that and opened my own spots as well. You know, when people could actually understand what type of music I would love played at my club, you know, at my chill out spot, you know.
Look at that.
These are still things I wish I would venture into, but for now it's sustainable income, things that actually make sense, you know, things that will give me an income on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, not for me to spend, but for me to actually get to that point, these places, you know, these spots, so it'll happen though.
You are one of 100 people, but you fall in the smaller space of people who think like you. There are a lot of performance and entertainers. They don't have the kind of information and the exposure that you've had in terms of learning all the things that you've implemented. What do you think should happen in the industry, or what can be done to actually improve other people's financial knowledge, better financial decision? Because we still see that even with current young performers, where they eat all their money and then we hear that so and so is down and out. We have a few right now that we can reference that they were a big thing, but because they mismanaged their finances, they're no longer making it, and we'd love to hear their music again, but they're never able to sustain themselves. What could be done?
So I think just, you know, being honest with ourselves is the most important thing, you know. I think Lendo put my body club guys. Like it's honestly useless.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with it, you know.
Yeah.
You can't. It doesn't make sense. Like you can't be booked at a venue now. Uma ufika kuleyo venue, uwe futhi kule venue ufuna ukuspend imali okade uyinikiwe.
Where uzosebenza wena.
You've already got a rider. You've already got something about to drink and stuff like that. If you invite your friends, it's not at your expense. You know? Your friends come to support you. They're not there to drink your alcohol.
Yeah.
It starts with stuff like that for us
Little
musicians.
No discipline, like.
Taflela next door sithenga ama champagne. Angazi izolo kuthenga ama champagne amangaki la next door la next door. My rider is my Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, you know.
Sure.
My rider is Johnny Walker.
You focus on that.
My people are drinking my Johnny Walker, and once that is done, it's time to go home. You know. So, these are people who have their own problems and they are there for their own reasons. You know. It starts with that comparison. You know, comparison and trying to act as if we are fine.
While you're not.
When you're not, you know. Now, I'm computer nice. So, we're so busy champagne too, because now. Now
But you still need to go back home and support your family and pay the bond, pay the car.
The reality of it is that you have responsibilities and they are different from the next person, you know?
Exactly.
It starts with that, and then other things, the fashion. And a lot of people say, I would go in, but what they don't understand is I don't just buy.
You budget for that.
I don't just buy. And when I do buy, I have a smart way of buying, you know? I don't buy. I love supporting stores, shops, and whatever. And in last minute instances, I do buy at these stores. There's I'm shopping for an outfit and you're buying for occasion. It's fine. But I actually go online, I sit down and I'm like, what makes sense, but it's still cool enough to, you know what I mean? So, and honestly, whether it's a brand or not, you know? So, even with that, you know, I'm very like, frugal about like decisions I make with the money that I make, you know, and the decisions that I take are based on Shapi lempahla Balenciaga, but do I really need to buy this Balenciaga t-shirt? You know, could I not just buy maybe a Y3 t-shirt that cost 3 times less
than
but
that.
It also still looks nice and it's the same makes the same neckline, skate fit, you know what I mean? So it's just about being smart. I could be driving like a nice lavish Porsche car right now, you know, but I ain't got time for that. I take a van, you know, because one, it's practical for all the places we see exo so because instead of buying her a car, it's like, okay, take mine, you know, take my car, laying dollar, it's paid up now. I don't have to worry about it. So now I don't pay for a car right now. I don't have a car I'm paying for, and I'm not planning to. You know, I am not planning to.
Well done to that.
I'm always thanking you. So the quicker I can also pay my debts, the better. You know, because then it was a cool leg, and I think during lockdown I had like a huge wake up call, and that's when I sold the other car to buy a van, you know, a truck, so that I can get income. You know, because now I see paid up, but I just thought, you know what, instead of having a luxury car
that is sitting, not giving me an income.
So it was that basically. So it's just making better financial decisions, being honest with yourself. Stop comparing yourself to someone who as a musician. Also, there's absolutely, I'm an ambivert, both introvert and extrovert at the same time. But
I never understand those people, but anyways.
So it's like I get anxiety in a space with too many people, you know. I love people, you know, but sometimes I don't want to be around people.
You also want your space.
Right?
Okay, so, now I understand.
So I always say there's absolutely nothing wrong with you buying your 6-pack as opposed to going to the club and competing with people who are buying champagnes. Sit at home, play your favorite music with people
and who
actually value your time, you know, and not someone else. Also, when you're at home, you can have your drink while you're actually enhancing the skill, you know what I mean, or researching or learning or whatever it is, you know. So it's things like that. People don't know. I don't go out. And it's not a bad thing. I don't want people to think it's a bad thing to sit at restaurants. But I think I've gotten over it. If I feel like I want to have a meal, yes, obviously every now and again you want to spoil yourself. You will go out, you know. You will have a good time. You will spend. But also with that, you know, you have a responsibility Yabo, yokuthi ukwazi ukumanage imali yakho kahle, because even the richest people, they know when imali iphume accounting yabo.
Exactly.
They are aware, you know, and I think the misconception is rich people just spend.
Yeah, financial awareness.
They are rich for a reason. They're rich because they've been able to manage their finances a certain way, you know. Yeah.
I love that.
Sure.
Closing, Mangmusa.
Beautiful. Guys, thank Fundile. More than what I actually had bargained for. What a blessing you are. And by the way, boy, guys, since this club. With him. Yes, and yet again, this is the episode of Financially Naked on the Money Couch.
We're getting to the fun part. We've got what we called a fun quiz, which is called, are you financially free or are you dumb?
Okay.
These are 5 random questions. We only need one answer. Do not think about it. Just give us one answer word. Okay. What does money mean to you? One word.
It means flexibility.
Sure.
Great. Flexibility. And then if someone were to come to you and say, money or love?
Money.
Okay.
We would buy love.
With the money.
All right.
Randomly, if you can, what has been the largest amount that hit your bank account?
2.3 million.
Simply money.
We'll talk about that some other day.
Yeah. Overdraft or credit card?
Credit card. No. Actually, none.
Very good.
Credit card. I don't like taking money that I don't know to the credit card. So I pre-funded. I spend my own money. Once it's done, it's done.
It's done.
100%.
All right. When you're buying property, cash or bond?
Cash.
One word, cash.
I don't like revolving loans. I don't like bonds. But I have a bond repayment to finish. So that's a story for another day.
Okay. Thank you so much, LeSoul. It's been a great pleasure. It's been a lovely conversation. We've learned a lot, and we hope our viewers as well have learned a lot. And as an expert as well as a financial planner, obviously none of this is taken as financial advice, but we can take 5 important things. Musa will help me here.
Sure.
We can take 5 important things that you've given us on this conversation. One is that you need to live your life, live within your means, live your truth, because comparing yourself with the next person who doesn't have the same responsibilities as you will not really help you achieve your journey of wealth. And number 2, as an entertainer, because obviously the theme here is about building wealth as an entertainer, is the fact that you need to have other sources of income.
100%.
Use your craft to actually invest in other things, so that by the time you need to leave the stage, or you just want to enjoy your passion without having to stress about money, you have other things that actually bring you money. The third one, which she mentioned at the end, to say those who get rich don't get rich or wealthy by mistake. They are frugal. They are financially aware, which means they know every cent. So let's leave this thing of living life as if you are rich when you are not, faking it until you make it. It really doesn't work, because those who get to the wealth point, they're actually aware of their money. They know what they need to invest into. They know where to get their money to. They're very financially aware. And the last thing which I like LeSoul is that she integrates her business, but also she also understands that she cannot be a one-man show. She works with other people. She works with different industry, and that teaches us that as much as we might have passion, I'm passionate about financial planning, but there are other ways of making money. And money, when it comes to your bank account, it really doesn't say, I'm coming from cutting grasses. I'm coming from planting potatoes. She's so beautiful. Can you tell that she's planting potatoes? Exactly. So it is very important. I think those points can help us to, when you start building your wealth journey, you are aware that this is what I want to do. She also invested a lot of time in building a brand. And most of us in our days, we want quick cash, we want quick wealth. We think I'll invest today, tomorrow 100%. It doesn't work like that. Building wealth takes time, and it's still a journey. She said it herself. she's halfway there.
She's not there yet?
She's not there yet. So we're not sharing stories of people who have made it, because you'll definitely never make it. You'll never ever make it, but it's a journey that you should enjoy as well. It shouldn't give you financial anxiety. And with that, we are very grateful to have her today. Bongosa, anything to add?
From our end, sure. I'd say the fact that she used her networks, so her public platform gave her that opportunity to create my networks and get, and she was able to actually just leech on those networks to actually say ngenza njani, mustn't retire kind of thing.
So use your opportunities that are available. And from that, we had DJ LeSoul getting naked financially on our couch.
Thank you.